Welcome to Chowilla Game Reserve, situated on the land of the first peoples of the River Murray and Mallee region and Maroora Nation. The Chowilla floodplain is made up of lakes, creek ana branches, wetlands, floodplains and the river. It's a Ramsar wetland of international significance and one of 6 icon sites in the Living Murray program, one of the largest river restoration programs in Australia. Like all floodplains, it's a place of extremes. In the dry, you'd be forgiven for thinking of it as a slumbering expanse of cracked clay and stunted plants. In the wet, the floodplain has its sleeping beauty awakening, gaining a burst of colour as plants sprout new growth and animals flock to the area to take advantage of feeding and breeding opportunities. This cycle of wetting and drying has been happening for millions of years, and the plants and animals that live here have adapted to this cycle and now rely on it to trigger growth and reproduction. The Chowilla floodplain historically flooded every 2 to 3 years, but the construction of locks along the River Murray, extraction of water for human use, and prolonged drought has resulted in a significant decrease in the frequency, extent, and duration of high flows across the floodplain. While natural floods are the best case scenario, today Chowilla receives water for the environment, delivered via a regulator or via pumping to help sustain the right balance of wetting and drying. Since we've been delivering water for the environment at Chowilla, we've observed an increase in the health of river red gum communities across the floodplain. These long-lived trees require flooding to trigger seed dispersal and to flush salt out of the system to maintain root health, followed by drying for their seeds to be deposited into the soil to grow. Each tree provides a myriad of resources for birds, mammals and insects such as blossoms and gum nuts for food. One of my favourite visitors to look for during spring and summer in the breeding season is the regent parrot. This beautiful, brightly coloured parrot is threatened by degradation of its habitat, among other threats, and there are now no more than 1,500 adult breeding pairs left in Australia. The extensive old-growth river red gum at Chowilla is critical to the survival of the local population here, providing nesting hollows and shelter. Amongst the black box, fringing the wetlands, you might find sacred kingfishers. Like the regent parrot, these birds visit Chowilla seasonally during spring and summer to breed. The same pair will often revisit the same wetland every year to make nests in black box and red gum hollows overhanging the water. Chowilla's unique lakes and wetlands attract thousands of water birds at a time. An array of species using the various habitats provided by wetland inundation include deep diving and dabbling ducks, grebes, cormorants, egrets, herons and spoonbills. These lakes also support small migratory waders that travel thousands of kilometres from the Arctic Circle every year to feed on the abundant food resources provided by the floodplains of the Murray-Darling Basin. There's also lots of activity happening beneath the water. Frogs like the vulnerable southern bell frog shelter and breed in the dense branches of inundated tangled lignum. And fish like the Murray cod, also a threatened species, prefer the fast-flowing creeks of Chowilla's Ana Branch, which provides some of the last remaining habitat for this species. Whilst the colour and activity of the wet cycle is spectacular, there's a certain magic to the dry part of the cycle at Chowilla too. Emus and kangaroos roam more freely, frogs and yabbies burrow underground, spiders, small lizards and insects make homes amongst the cracked clay, and salt bushes provide refuge and food for small birds. There's always something to discover at Chowilla.